Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Have you ever been stuck and find that you are not progressing with a piece of music on the piano? Are you currently stuck on a piece of music? Well, that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this video. There are a few reasons why you might be stuck on a piece of music, and I'm going to help you get through that roadblock if you have ever found yourself in that situation. So why might you be stuck and what can you do about it? Well, number one, you can't move on without perfection. Are you a perfectionist? If you are, sometimes you can find that you get so far through a piece of music and then you don't know if you should perfect what you've learned or you should try and learn some more. And you might be thinking, I don't want to learn more if what I have already learned isn't perfect. Although we are obviously always aiming to play music as good as we possibly can, you can find yourself getting trapped in only playing what you can already play. And then every time you sit at the piano, you don't include learning new parts of the music in your practice anymore. There are a few ways that I would suggest solving this if this is you. Firstly, plan your practice by making a list of everything that you think needs working on and make sure to not only include fixing parts that you've already played before, which don't get me wrong is important, but also try and make sure that you are learning new parts of the music as well. Learning new techniques and tricky parts of a piece can take several practice sessions, and you don't want to hold up your learning of the music by waiting for perfection, because perfection takes time and music isn't perfect anyway. Secondly, I would suggest learning the very last part of a piece of music. If you're reading the music, then that may be the last 4 bars or so. And then you can work your way backwards a couple of bars at a time to meet in the middle. The reason for this is that you will treat the last part of the piece of music almost like a completely new piece of music, and that will help you start making progress again. You may also be the type of person that does the exact opposite, which brings me on to number 2, which is you move on too quickly without fixing problems. Now, for some people, getting the notes learnt becomes a priority, and that can be to the detriment of how you actually play them and what the music sounds like. You might not get the rhythm right because you're trying to read through too much. You might not have the dynamics, musicality, sensitivity in the piece of music, and you could be thinking, why can I not make this sound good? Well, the answer is simple. You're trying to rush through the music and you need to focus down more. The way that I would avoid this problem is by limiting your practice to a particular section. Not every practice session is going to get an entire piece of music learned, so use this to your advantage. This will help you not only avoid moving on to the next bit of music too quickly, but it will also stop you getting stuck on sections, because you can set yourself different goals each practice. For example, before you sit down at the piano, you can tell yourself, today I'm only going to focus on these 8 bars of music, no more, no less. Then the next time you come to practice, you can focus on a different part of the music. And by practice, I mean everything. Don't only concentrate on the notes, but also how to play the notes, and make that section as musical as possible. You can always get away with making up notes, but you can't get away with not playing with any meaning or musicality. If you are getting value from this video so far, make sure to subscribe and slap that like button, please. Number 3, irregular or bad practice. Whenever a new student starts lessons with me, I always make it as clear as possible that they are only going to get out of playing the piano what they put into playing the piano. So for someone new to playing, it is so important to give yourself some kind of routine, because once you start playing without a routine, it's even harder to get into one. And although at the very beginning of learning, you can remember the information from week to week between lessons if you have a teacher, it doesn't take long before you need regular practice in order to get any further. As well as this, if you haven't got into a routine of regular practice, practicing can start to feel like a chore, and something that you have to do rather than want to do. So if you find that you aren't practicing regularly and you have to make yourself sit at the piano, give yourself a schedule and you'll start to make much more progress, and practice will probably become more enjoyable. If you do practice regularly, but you're still finding you aren't moving forward, the likelihood is that this is because of how you are practicing. Good practice is something that is learned, so let's try and fix how you are going about it if this might be you. So good practice is always targeted. You aren't pressing any key on the piano without an aim. The aim might be to learn the notes, fix the rhythm, add musicality, coordinate your hands, get rid of tension, or many other reasons. But if someone walks past and asks you, why did you play that? You should be able to confidently answer them. And if you find yourself answering to see how the music sounds, or I'm just playing it, then that's not practice. And that's fine, that's okay, as long as you are aware that this won't actually help you make a difference to your playing. You won't become a better player by just playing more. You will only become a better player by trying to become a better player and deliberately making a difference. I do think sometimes you can get into the mindset of, I'll fix that later, or it will fix itself if I just get good at the piano. It won't, you have to actually fix it. And number 4, you just aren't ready to play the piece you are playing. When starting to play the piano, many people have a piece of music or a song in mind that they aspire to want to play. And there might be a learning curve that you need to go through before you're able to play that piece of music or song. I am definitely a believer that anyone can play anything with enough time spent on it. However, If you try to run before you can walk, you can end up playing in a way that is going to negatively affect your overall ability to play the piano. For example, you might introduce tension into your playing, or you may struggle to read the music and end up getting into the habit of memorising it and looking at your hands rather than following the sheet music. And ultimately, if a piece of music is a little bit out of reach, it doesn't mean you won't eventually get there, but you are better off putting the music on hold and building a ladder of progressively more difficult pieces of music before you get to it. This way you can develop the skills and knowledge to be able to sail through that piece rather than struggling, learning the wrong way and getting stuck on it. Another reason you might be getting stuck on the piano is because you haven't worked out what your aim is for the piano and what type of things you should be learning to get there. And that is exactly what this video is about. So if you want to work that out, head on over and I will see you there.